In the previous article, I explained the importance of the higher chakras, which are the earth, the mind, and the crown. These three chakras are fundamental for solving everyday problems, finding the best solutions, and having the right drive to move forward. But now, we come to the part I prefer the most. In fact, these three chakras are not the only ones we need to meditate on, for a reason that is more than valid. Even though these three chakras are very powerful in finding solutions, it will still be up to you to put them into action through concrete steps. If you don't take action to solve your problems, how can you expect the energy centers to do everything for you? The chakras gave you the idea, they revealed the solution to get you out of trouble, and they gave you the right confidence and motivation to do it, but now it's up to you to act. Often, precisely because it's not easy to understand the crown chakra and its universal plans, the solution might seem too complex. It will seem almost impossible to win your battle, and this will make you afraid to face the challenge, even though the crown has shown you the right way to deal with it. Fear will block you. You will feel anxiety, the fear of failing, and sometimes the earth won't be enough to calm that feeling of anguish that grips your chest and leaves you breathless. That's where the solar plexus needs to come in. The solar plexus chakra is deeply connected to the earth and the chi, as it is located right in the stomach area, at the center of the line between the other two chakras. Its position is incredibly important. If we were to define the higher chakras as out of this world feats and as the ability to reason, the solar plexus is the exact middle ground between feeling and matter, between abstract and concrete. The crown chakra and the mind chakra, if unbalanced, will clash, because one works on incredible and beyond reason events, while the other is rational and reflective. All of these could make them seem almost on the opposite, but in reality, thanks to meditation, they will collaborate very well and together find the most appropriate solution. The plexus lies between two complete opposites, feeling and material manifestation, that is, the earth and the chi. Nonetheless, if these chakras are nourished with prana, they will work very well together. Feeling is not reasonable. The feeling of the earth is much more similar to that of the crown chakra, in the sense that it does not follow human reason at all, but its own. The chi is not abstract, it's not thought, it's not feeling. The chi is matter, it's concretization. And yet, united all together, they form an incredible force that cannot be understood through theory alone. The chakras help you materialize your intentions and thoughts into reality, which is why those who meditate manage to achieve their goals even much faster than those who have spent a lifetime studying and working, but who, having never meditated, often fail to succeed. It may seem strange because you are not used to this kind of information, yet your chakras give you a strength that allows you to wield great power over this reality. The solar plexus lies right in the middle of emotion and physicity, making it an incredible bridge that allows you to physically experience emotions. You may have thought emotions were just feelings and therefore abstract elements, but the plexus allows you to physically feel your emotions, and it does so every day, but it doesn't happen consciously, which leads you to suffer from your feelings instead of enjoying them. The solar plexus is the midpoint between the energetic dimensions and the physical one, since it is located between the chi and the earth. And this is why, when we experience a very strong emotion, it reverberates in the stomach, making us feel a physical sensation. When we feel a very intense emotion, for example because we are in love, we perceive a tightness in the stomach that we will swear is real, hard and physical, as if there were a rock inside our stomach that prevents us from eating. When we feel anxious, scared, angry, or very sad, these emotions can even use stomach cramps and diarrhea. How can you touch or smell an invisible feeling, which you can't see? How can something we believe isn't real because we can't breathe it or eat it cause such discomfort in our stomach and in our physical body in general? Because a feeling becomes tangible thanks to the chi chakra. The plexus lies between the feelings of the earth and the physical concretization of the chi. The plexus is very useful because by meditating on it and thus strengthening it, allows us to have protected stomach in every sense. In fact, negative feelings affect the stomach by causing pain, but if we meditate on the plexus, the chakra protects the stomach and prevents negative feelings from compacting within the organ and thus becoming physical through pain, nausea, and diarrhea. Those who meditate on the plexus no longer suffer from stomach aches they previously experienced frequently. Let's ask ourselves why. The plexus is the chakra that physically feels emotions, And it's very important to know this, because when the plexus is depleted, even other people's feelings can impact our physical body. This is because our plexus is an accumulator of emotions, often predominantly negative ones, simply because these are the emotions people feel most due to their personal dissatisfactions, which they end up projecting into others. And it transforms other anger and sadness into physical sensations that harm our body. This happens because people's thoughts emit energy, which can affect and sometimes harm those they direct their negative feelings toward. In other words, a stomachache is a strong sign of absorbing negative energy, which can arise internally if we are pessimistic individuals, or come from the outside if we are victims of negative influences from others, or even from non-physical presences sending us these negative energies. Even if we don't see it with our eyes, other people send us a lot of negative energy. By meditating consistently, we give strength to our plexus to protect itself and react, thus preventing the negative emotions from turning into physical illness, regardless of whether this energy originated internally or externally. The plexus gives us the ability to find the strength to face any adversity that stands in our way without physically experiencing destabilizing negative emotions like fear, pessimism, anxiety, and so on. For this very reason, the plexus is connected to the concept of achieving one's goals. If you feel physical fear, you won't be able to materialize your ideas. Fear is a very complex emotion, and if it also becomes physical in your body, it prevents you from taking action and fighting for what you believe in. Fear can cause you severe pain and physical problems, just like anxiety and pessimism can. By meditating, you give more strength to your plexus, so instead of feeling fear, you will feel that physical determination within you that will make you capable of facing any obstacle. The plexus is the solution to anxiety, fear, and panic attacks. In fact, it's clear that those who suffer from these issues have a plexus chakra that's even weaker than average. Meditating on the plexus and thus nourishing it with energy will help you tremendously in quickly addressing your problems of anxiety, fear, and panic, because it strengthens precisely the chakra most connected to and responsible for these physical emotions. So start meditating on the plexus and you will see how these problems will begin to resolve. The earth chakra plays an important role in creating the positive feeling that the plexus then needs to amplify. Reason, that's the mind chakra, must help the plexus understand that there is no reason for it to suffer physically just because of a bad feeling. From this, you see that all the chakras need to work together, so it's essential to meditate on all 5 chakras, and not just one. For your entire life, you didn't know the chakras existed, and yet they are right inside you, just waiting to give you this power. Most of our daily problems could be perfectly solvable simply by meditating, because by nourishing our chakras we give them the strength to help us be more focused, awake, reactive, capable of solving problems thanks to the higher chakras. But not only that, we will be less influenced by other people because we'd be more centered on our own decisions and abilities. We will be less emotional and more empathic, meaning we'd be stronger to face others' offenses and everything that make us suffer, which doesn't mean becoming insensitive, because on the contrary, we'd be able to understand and perceive people's moods and thoughts better, so we'd be more sensitive but at the same time stronger and able to detach from feelings we don't like. Through the plexus, earth, mind and crown chakras, we would already be solving many of the problems that mark our days, but we can only do this if we meditate on them. But there's still one more gear we need to make everything work. In fact, even though you might have found the solution to your problems through the higher chakras, mind and crown, the motivation thanks to the earth, the grit to fight and overcome fear thanks to the plexus, you still don't have all the means to face your problem. To do that, you need to take action, but you need physical strength to succeed. This is where the chi comes in. This chakra might make you think of many things, but the truth is that without the chi, it's not easy to materialize your goals. As long as you keep thinking, you remain stuck in thoughts. Often, thinking and hoping aren't enough. And even the courage to face obstacles might not be sufficient, because it doesn't mean you're actually facing them. Being hungry doesn't mean you're eating. Even if you're hungry and want to eat, that doesn't mean you're already doing it, because if that were the case, you would stop feeling hungry. You might have all the courage you want, but unless you move to act and take concrete steps, the problem will remain, even if in your mind you think it's become easy to solve. This is the job of the chi. We need it to materialize our ideas and face our fears. The chi is the chakra of physical energy. the one more connected to this physical plane compared to the others. In fact, the crown chakra is much more dimensional. The mind translates, the earth makes us feel emotions, but the chi is what connects us more physically to this material dimension. For this reason, for any goal we want to achieve on this physical plane, it's far better to have a strong and steady chi than a weak and withered one. In practice, the chi is the chakra that makes our ideas real and concretizes them in this physical dimension. When we visualize, it's as if what we're creating exists, but in a dimension too abstract to be seen and felt by everyone. So it's believed not to be real. The chi allows us to make real the events we desire in our mind, making them happen also on the physical plane. This chakra is the means through which we can easily materialize an idea, more easily than one might think. There are moments when you believe you have no way out, that there is no solution to your problems, or when you desire something you consider impossible, but which thanks to practice you can succeed in making it concrete. All the chakras work together to help you reach your goal, but ultimately it's up to you to take action to achieve what you aim for, because if you don't act and remain still, it's hard to materialize what you yourself consider impossible. The chi gives value to your thoughts and allows you to materialize them more easily without excessive effort, often achieving results sooner than you expected. The chi is the reality of this dimension. It's the chakra that gives you concrete proof that it's all true. It's the easiest chakra to understand because it's direct. It immediately gives you physical sensations that show you it's real. It provides you with physical strength, and being very close to the plexus, it also gives you moral strength, the courage and the push you needed to keep going. Not by chance, athletes who want to become champions discover and decide to use the chi so that it can grant them extra strength and agility to surpass their opponents. Basically, it's the chakra that makes your techniques, decisions, and ideas real and material. It makes them concrete and physical in this dimension. It is a fundamental chakra for surviving in the social life of this planet because it defends you from aggressions, strengthens you in offensive techniques, and allows you to concretize your life with real events, or better said, events defined as real in this physical realm. Deep down, we know that everything around us isn't truly real. But for others, for unconscious people, everything around us is the only reality that exists. So it's very important to practice to have a strong chi because it allows us to have a life that will be considered real by these metrics. Basically, without chi, the other chakras could be very powerful, but you will still remain too out of the world because you wouldn't concretize in this physical plane. So the question might naturally arise. If the chi is the most important chakra for this dimension, why don't we meditate solely on it? Why do we focus also on the other chakras? The answer is simple, because the chi is not the most important chakra. It makes concrete an idea or decision that you have measured with the higher chakras, but it's not easy to materialize something positive if in your mind you will only have problems and negative thoughts. Obviously, you will only materialize problems and negative events. And this must no longer happen. That's why we meditate on all 5 chakras together, not just on the chi. Because before materializing, we need to understand what it is that we truly want to achieve. If we are always pessimistic and full of problems, the chi won't be able to help much. In fact, it will be further weakened. For the same reason, it will be wrong to practice on any single chakra while completely ignoring the others, like focusing only on the earth chakra, because you will become too emotional and completely forget reason. Moreover, you will never manage to materialize anything in your life, since you'd be too focused on feelings and too little on concretization. So the earth alone, although a very positive and benevolent chakra, will not be enough to live your life well. If the mind chakra were taken as the only one and you practice solely on it, you will end up becoming overly convinced of your own logic, even obsessive. Because the mind chakra, without the help of the crown and of the others, wouldn't be able to balance you nor make you a complete person. If you dedicated your time exclusively to the mind chakra and none other, over the years you wouldn't achieve your goals in the absence of the other chakras because you wouldn't have the proper strength to realize them. So you'd convince yourself you know the whole truth, as the mind can offer you a lot, but you will continue lacking concrete proof without the chi, the solar plexus and the rest. To evolve, you need to balance yourself, so it's necessary to meditate on all 5 chakras. Here's why we need all our chakras to be evolved with balance, nurtured and not just used rarely, weakly, and even unconsciously.
Inside each of us are many chakras, among which 5 are the most important ones, and if we consciously used all of them every day, they would improve our lives from the smallest things to the greatest experiences. Since these chakras currently lack prana energy until we start meditating, they can only perform small normal actions, often with limited results, but nothing exceptional and even less spiritual paranormal. But if we meditate on the chakras to nourish them with prana energy, we give them the strength to function also on a paranormal level, offering us great positive and evolutionary experiences. By meditating on the chakras, you allow them to evolve and strengthen their abilities, which you will use to improve every aspect of your daily life as well as to grow on spiritual planes. Also, now you understand why we practice on several chakras, even ones that seem very opposite, like the crown, dimensional and extrasensory experiences, and the chi, real facts and concrete actions. This is because while the crown chakra opens our mind and lets us discover new worlds and dimensions, the chi chakra grounds us, reminding us that it's good to know other dimensions, but that we shouldn't lock ourselves inside or live with our heads in another world. It's right that we live in this concrete dimension because if we are born here, there must be a reason. The same rule applies to the earth chakra. If we used only that one, we'd be too emotional and have our heads in the clouds instead of living life fully aware of what's happening around us. Because we need to be balanced, we don't meditate only on the chi, but also on the higher chakras, so they help us understand that everything we see and believe to be real might not be, since there are many other dimensions where the matrix we usually know doesn't exist, but something very different does. So this chakra allows us to not get too attached to this dimension, like we will do if we meditated only on the chi, being a very material chakra thus connected to the earthly masks, allowing us to see beyond. Now you know why I indicate precise minutes for meditating on each chakra rather than treating them as if they were all the same, for example meditating 10 minutes on each one without recognizing their differences, as many others mistakenly do. Each chakra is different, and little by little you will learn to understand their peculiarities. Today's lesson is in fact just a basic introduction to what chakras are, because they actually hold many other interesting pieces of information for us, which we could use for our physical, emotional and mental well-being. My advice is to meditate as I have taught you and not to worry, because it won't be a few extra minutes on one chakra to ruin your balance. But I recommend avoiding those fasting trends dictated by other fake spiritual teachers who invite you to meditate only and exclusively on one chakra, thus preventing you from evolving and balance with all the others, as you should instead do. Since you have lived until now without the conscious use of chakras, you think everything is normal and that life is fine without them. But if you decide to practice on them and use them to reach your goals, you will wonder how you could have lived before without their help. When you start using the chakras and improving every aspect of your life thanks to the natural strength they can give you, you realize how lucky you are to have discovered their presence inside you. They are like hidden muscles just waiting to be trained. It's up to you to decide to do it every day. In this article I explain what chakras are, but don't worry, if you feel you haven't perfectly grasped every single definition, because the only way to truly understand how chakras work is to experience them firsthand, in theory you can understand that each chakra helps you in certain areas of your life, amplifying your abilities. For example, the chi increases your physical strength, while the mind improves your intellect. But in practice you will understand it all only by meditating and giving your chakras the power to do all this. Through pranic nourishment, thanks to meditation, your chakras can truly help you make the changes you need and always wanted to realize. But without energy, they cannot do it because they don't have the strength to succeed. Moreover, chakras are not only used to amplify your normal abilities, but they also amplify your spiritual senses, those called paranormal. So, meditating on the chakras allows you to evolve within yourself all of those psychic abilities that will help you truly live a better life, not just in words, but in concrete facts. In the next article, we will delve deeper into thinking to improve your upcoming meditation sessions. Don't rush to understand everything all at once, because learning certain information takes time and lots of meditation. You have recently found yourself suddenly thrown into a reality very different from the one you've lived in all these years, so it's normal to feel disoriented and find it difficult to absorb certain knowledge. You have to recognize that it's a lot of information revealed all at once, and it's not easy to take it in immediately. But don't worry, because this is the exact same obstacle that all of us faced and reflected on at the start of our journey. Arm yourself with patience and move forward step by step without rushing. This way you will evolve in balance, without letting gaps hold you back. Because learning certain information takes time and lots of meditation. You have recently found yourself suddenly thrown into a reality very different from the one you've lived in all these years. So it's normal to feel disoriented and find it difficult to absorb certain knowledge. You have to recognize that it's a lot of information revealed all at once, and it's not easy to take it in immediately.